It's the Evening Pulse on the all-new Heart and Soul 99.1 and 1050, the pulse of the city. Well, we promised you that we may or may not have a special guest this evening.
We did say we would hopefully have a special guest, and the guest we have with us could be no more special.
No.
No more legendary.
No.
I mean, to me, a lot of things, but certainly the name itself is royalty, American royalty to me.
Yes, that is the word. That's where I was at with that, AB.
Yes. The
Very
name would
honored.
be Jackson.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Tito Jackson joining us on the Evening Pulse. How are you this evening?
I'm fine. How is everyone out there in Radio Land?
It's wonderful to have you in here with us in Oklahoma, and so much to talk about, but I definitely want to start with what you're doing right now, the music you've got out right now. You've got a CD called Tito Jackson, Tito Time.
That's correct. It's Tito time, that's for sure. And I put this album out about a week ago, actually.
Really?
Yes, and I've had a single on it from last year entitled Get It Baby, featuring Big Daddy Kane. And there's a international line dance surrounding that song, Get It Baby, that's been catching on, and they did it maybe 4 or 5 times on the Tom Joyner cruise, which was very exciting, and I just had a great time. Been very busy.
So how did the collaboration with Big Daddy Kane even come about?
That's what I want to know. He's one of my favorites.
Well, actually, I had recorded the song, and there's a section that we needed a rap, and I did call some of the other friends that I knew, but they were busy in the studio recording and on tour, what have you. So my producer had mentioned to me that he knows Big Daddy Kane's management. I said, well, man, call them up. We can't find nobody that we really want, and he would be perfect for the spot. So anyway, he called him and got the song out to the management, which got it to Daddy Kane, and he listened to it and said, okay, now is this Tito or is this somebody he's producing? What is it? And I said, no, it's really Tito, this, blah, blah, that.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Kane said, get him on the phone. So I got on the phone. He asked me the same thing. Is this really you, Tito, or is this somebody you recorded? I said, no, it's my song. It's going to be my first single, and I'd like to have you on it. I know you're a great rapper, and you can hook this up for me. He said, man, this is a hit record. He said, I'm going to hook this up, and I'm going to have it back to you within 24 hours.
Wow.
And that's what he did, and it's been magic.
Yes.
It's been very good section he put in the music.
Do you get that often if you're wanting to work with somebody that they don't believe it's you?
Not as much, because I haven't done much music on my own.
Okay.
But I've been more known for blues type of music. I do a few different type of music. Like you'll find out on this album, I have some R&B and some pop and some country and some and some reggae.
Okay.
So
okay.
It all fits each other. It sounds like a lot of different genres, but it all fits each other.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear some country. I'm an Okie through and through.
That's on my way home to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
So then let's take us from where we are now with Tito and go back to the beginning and talk about this legacy of the Jackson family and the Jacksons. And where do you start?
I don't know.
Where do you start?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, it started a long time ago, 50 years ago in Gary, Indiana, with a broken guitar string. So that's where it started. But we had actually been harmonizing with my mother, Jackie Germain, and myself. And I broke the string, and my father had told us not to mess with this instrument. Of course it did. He punished me and put it in my lap and said, show me what you know. And I was playing and crying. And he was surprised. He said, Kate, this boy really can play. She said, I told you, Joe, he could play. And he said, you know what, you can have that guitar. So he said, but I want you to learn every song on the radio you hear.
Wow.
So I started learning all the Temptations, Isley Brothers, and then with the stuff we had been doing with my mother that harmonized and stuff, we just converted into Isley Brothers songs and Temptations and this and that. And next thing we knew, we had a little group with Jermaine, Jackie, and myself, and Michael Martin were just babies. We tell them, get out of the room. You're too young.
So how old were you at this period of time?
I must have been like 8, 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael and Martin were only like 3 to 4 years old, somewhere in there.
Wow.
So They were little kids, and a year or so later, we heard Michael singing at his school, and our mouths flew open because he had been begging to get in the group.
Yeah,
and we tell him, no, you're too young. You know,
Yeah.
He's 5 years younger. That's a lot younger when you're
Right.
young. Yeah. But we heard him sing, and we put him in the group immediately. And Marlon said, "Me too." You too, Marlon.
I just think for me, it wasn't just one family member who has this God-given natural talent. Like, not everyone can hear. Like you said, your dad said, well, I want you to learn every song on the radio. And he said that to you because he knew that you could. You have that ear.
Yeah.
And so not everyone can sit at the piano and, peck something out or play it out on the guitar. But it's not just you, your brothers, your sisters. Like, everyone has this God-given talent. And I just think that's an incredible... It's a good feeling for me. I love it.
Well, we worked it. We sung and practiced a lot. And I remember my father coming home from work many times and asking us to be quiet in the room. I'm trying to sleep. I have to get up and go to work in a few more hours. And one day my mom told him, she said, Joe, you should listen to them. I think they really have some talent. My father, of course, those boys can't sing, kid. He said, no, Joe, really listen to them. I think they got something. So he listened to us, and the next day he went out and bought all kind of amplifiers and microphones and took his whole paycheck and bought all kind of stuff and groomed us, actually.
Yeah,
he groomed us. And we started doing little shows and weddings and little school functions and anything we could, birthday parties, Christmas parties, and just kept that going. And one day we saw this older lady, and she asked us the name of the group, and we said, well, we call ourselves the Jackson Brothers. We don't really have a name, we told her. We just call ourselves the Jackson Brothers. And she said, well, it's 5 of you. Why don't you just call yourself the Jackson 5? And that's how we got our name, the Jackson 5.
Wow.
It was named by this older lady in Gary. I shouldn't say young. She was an older lady.
Oh, what was her name? I'm curious.
I can't even remember. No, I was just a kid.
Because we have a lot of local talent here.
I wish I knew who she was.
I love that when someone comes up with their name, like the story of how they got their name, it's very special.
Yes.
So after that, you get started. What is it like having that type of career at such an early age? Like, what is that like for you?
Well, at that age, we were young kids, and we were very excited just to go to the different cities and see all these things we read about in school and that whole thing. But we didn't really realize the impact that we had musically on the world until we were older, until we were probably in our 30s. And that's when we had known that we had made a mark on the world with our music career. And it was a great feeling. Because when people comes up to you constantly and thank you for the music, or say, this was our wedding song, or my kids were conceived on this song, or whatever, it's a good feeling.
I have to say, one of my AB does a show on our sister station on 105 KJAMs on Sundays. It's the old school Sunday Night Live. And one of my most favorite songs that he plays, I think I may have told him this before, is Let Me Show You the Way to Go. When that song comes on, that would be my thank you for doing that song, because it is the best feeling ever. When I hear that song, I'll never get tired of it, ever.
What's amazing is, as listeners, as fans, we listen to you guys grow up and transition through music and through the various formations of the group, from the Jackson 5s into the Jacksons, into all the solo projects. Yeah. And we just listen to you guys grow up and mature, and the music did the same with us. And so we've grown up with it.
I know.
It's like
I feel like
all
you're,
of these
you're a part
songs.
of us.
With this project, Tito Time, actually, I'm the last Jackson family member of the siblings to record solo album.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really late on my project, but it's fine because
better late than never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got married young and raised a family and did that thing first, and now I have all the time to do this. And that's what I'm doing now.
So about your children who are in the business or are not in the business, how do you manage that kind of expectation on the family name when they do music?
Well, I have 3 sons. They go by the name of 3T. They have their own group. They work a lot in the European market, and it's an easy thing because they grew up in the business, watching their uncles and myself, and they wanted to do the show business thing. So I opened up my studio and instruments to them, and they just grew up with the musical flavor.
Yeah.
Just knowing how it works, how it goes, and it becomes pretty natural for them.
Right.
And how did you prepare them based on your experience through the music industry? How was it different for them than it was for you guys?
Well, it was different for them because I had made such a mark in music business. I knew all the connections, how to connect the dots, and all they had to do is have the talent. And that made it a lot easier for them than it was because we had opened up for practically everybody, from James Brown to Johnny Taylor to Jackie Wilson to Gladys Knight to everybody.
Yeah.
And trying to get discovered until that one day Gladys had taken us back to Motown and said, Mr. Gordy, you really need to listen to these kids.
You know, I recently got to see Motown the musical, and that was my favorite part of the show. And my mother got to go with me too, and so we both had that shared moment of, well, I was there when Jackson 5 was kind of more her, and then for me it was like, Jackson State of Shock, and like that was my cassette, that I wore out back in the day. So it was just such a great feeling, and I love the way they put the story together. How everything got started with Motown, and
Yeah, your mom was in the earlier stages of our career.
Yeah, but I grew up listening to those records.
Oh yeah,
like that was house cleaning music. Like that. Those were the records that were being flipped down through the vinyl and stacked.
The good days.
Yes.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
Sir.
Oh yeah. So speaking of that, I mean, Tito, what do you think about the state of the music business now, since you've seen it from a kid to now? I know it's changed dramatically, good and bad. What do you think?
Well, it's constantly changing, and I like to see where it seats, if it ever seats. Old tradition is no longer feasible today. With the way records were promoted and sold, of course, we no longer have anymore. So artists today is trying to find every outlet they can to have their music heard, whether it's radio, internet, or passing it out or giving it out free, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not very lucrative in the CD record market. Most of the money is made for an artist in his shows, his concerts, through merchandise and performance. So as far as this is just a promotion marketing tool for us today.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like I said, I took 400 CDs on the Tom Joyner cruise and practically gave them all away free,
Yeah.
So that's what it's about today. And it's really changed because they change an artist so rapidly today. You can have an artist that they called them one-hit wonders back then. Just that one hit, you never hear from them again. And that's going on a lot today. Then there's those Bruno Mars and those other ones that constantly stay.
Yeah.
Stick.
Yeah.
And if you notice, some of those artists are doing what I call a real sense of music. They're not just constantly on the computer.
Yeah.
Right.
They're using some real instrumentation as well.
They are, and they're borrowing from.
Do they borrow? Do they borrow?
They borrow a lot,
And that's one of the things I've always said, because the kids have no idea where these little bass lines and these little
but you know
riffs
what?
come from. And I hear Sly in some parts.
Well,
I hear my brothers.
We
and
work
the
on
Jacksons.
we work on that on both of our shows. I have a segment called the Back to Back. So it's most hip hop songs use samples, or even R&B artists, and I always go back and play the original. So that's why I was like, I'll be playing some Jacksons on my show, because you need to know where this came from.
Well,
So that's what it's all about.
And there's nothing wrong with it. But the thing that I do find that's shocking about the whole thing is that they'll take a 4-bar section or whatever and have great success from it. But when you look at the original artist that created the music, or an artist, even a current artist today that's trying to get through the gate, who's doing real music, it's a harder challenge for him.
It really is.
And I just don't understand that.
Yeah. because you're from the original. Like, you wrote and all of that. Composing, I mean, that's an art. That's almost a lost art, you know?
And it's a hard thing because I don't think the people, the listeners don't know how much work we put in to make a recording, and the stress and sometimes can be very aggravating. But
I can imagine.
But the end result of having a successful record is what we look for, and to have those listeners to like it or love it, to want to purchase it or whatever, be part of their listening ear for the rest of their lives, and that's what we thrive on. Yeah. And hopefully they'll come to the concert and see a great show.
Yes.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Indeed. So what do you have coming up in the future in terms of support for this album outside of the Tom Joyner Cruise, since it's out now?
There's a lot of things going on with the brothers and with me alike. We're doing some touring in Europe, and we're in the process of setting up a tour with the other boy band group, Menudo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, and we're going to be doing that this summer, as well as some other things across England and the rest of Europe.
I've been seeing a little bit of that. I follow you on Twitter. I try to tag you when I do my back-to-backs. I'm like, oh, Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking for my retweet. No, I'm kidding. Well, can we talk a little bit more about the new project? I know you mentioned the song with Big Daddy Kane, Get It Baby.
Yes.
But what are some of the other tracks that you want to highlight?
Well, this One Way Street is a great song. It's mostly about a relationship that's not happening. And we have On My Way Home. Okay. It's about a relationship that is happening. And we got Cruising. Cruising is a song that's basically you put on and you just let down your windows in the car. Or
go for a ride.
Go for a ride with the lady and just enjoy the night, the evening.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And Tito Love is a song that I wrote basically expressing love.
Yeah. That's the title track, right? Is that the name of the album?
No. Tito Time is the title.
Oh, Tito Time. Okay.
And I named it Tito Time because it's my turn. It's my time.
It's time for Tito.
Yes. I hope you enjoy the music. And I hope the listeners out there enjoyed it as well.
Yes.
Because I did it for them. Because they had asked me for many years throughout my career, in the last 20 years, if I'm ever going to do a record. And I said, of course, someday, and there was also a survey, will Tito ever do a record? And it was about 50-50, no, yes. And I said, now they having questions and trivia questions about me. I better do this record.
Trivia questions. Yes, well, we're really glad you did, and we're really glad that you stopped through today. We were so excited to hear that you were in town. I said, he's in Oklahoma?
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
So, I'm really excited to talk to you about your project and just have a visit with you.
Thank you so much for having me on the program today.
Yes.
I enjoyed myself very much. Thank you for playing my music, and I hope everyone enjoy it.
Yes, it was
We're honored to have a legend and have the Jackson name in Oklahoma and on our radio station. Indeed.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you for tuning in. We're going to keep it rolling right here and get into a couple of those tracks from Tito Jackson on the Evening Pulse with A.B. and Ali Shaw. All new Heart and Soul, 99.1 and 1050.
The Pulse of the City.